Right, so last week I produced one of my first podcasts for our good friends Connor and Lucas. They just started a new podcast called Thruple of Opinions. It's awesome. Go ahead and check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. But the experience was really awesome. They had their own recording set up in San Francisco, and they had their friend Alexa also join in remote. So I had to get all the audio files remote and then go through and clean it up and do some editing and make sure it all sounded top notch. So just wanted to show you the process on that real quick.
Hey everyone, it's Connor here, and we're live-ish with Thruple of Opinions in San Francisco.
Hello. I made him a quick little intro song. So like I said, this is a really fun process. Basically, I received the 3 different audio files from them, so I dropped it in here. And it was in pretty good condition because we kind of walked through like proper recording techniques and did some test runs before they did the final take. So I really just needed to go in and kind of clean up some things. As you can see, Lucas, there's quite a bit of feedback from Connor's mic, so I had to go in and pull out a lot of the dead space. I tried to use a noise gate as much as I could, but sometimes there's things that just creep through on the noise gates that you can't control. So everyone has their own custom channel, which I've now saved to a template, so when they send the next episodes, it's real quick to just drop it in. But everybody's chain starts with a noise gate to just get rid of some of that background noise. I've got the release on the noise gate really long so that it sounds a little bit more natural. And then for this round, I put everybody on the Nectar Elements plugin. I feel like as long as you don't overuse it, it's a real good way to just get everything to a relatively good starting point. So everybody's got that on their chain. Then I just threw on compressors for everybody. Again, slightly different because people are talking closer or further away from the microphones. Everybody's got their own custom EQ on their channel. And then I threw on a de-esser. For Alexa, she did not need the de-esser because the way that the audio file came through, whether it was her positioning or remote or whatever, it was pretty clean. So I kept it like that. And then I threw everybody on a send bus to a reverb, which you can see here in the mixer. Just to put them in, I just did like a small drum booth, basically reverb, to make it sound like they're actually in a room together. So everybody's running through that. All channels are routed to the master out, and on the out, which I did first, I've got an EQ, compression, just a single band compression or EQ to just low cut out some of those really deep frequencies that you don't need. I'm at 65 hertz. And then I love this Fat Effects plugin that comes standard with Logic, because you turn off everything, but you leave this one on, and there's this great saturation feature right here to just kind of like liven things up a little bit. So that was really helpful. And then let's see here. So basically I went through, and any kind of gaps or bleed through, I just went and cut out the tracks. A lot of times, like Alexa, since she was calling in on Zoom, her the computer mic would bleed into the microphones for Connor and Lucas, who were sitting next to each other. I just ever so slightly panned each one of them to the side just to make it seem again like they're actually in a room with you. So once I had all the vocals kind of set up and it sounding pretty good, I went back in. I've always got a track here to pull out any one-liners that are like funny and interesting that any of them say. I'll just drop it into this track, and I can always use them for promo stuff later. Here's the intro song that I made in a different project and then just exported it in here. And then I've also got an outro song for them, which I made, and they do a really cool thing. For this one, they had 3 different segments, so it was fun to have segments, and then I created like music or quick transitions for each segment. So, for instance, this one is their news segment.
Start the show. Welcome to Thruple of Opinions.
Let's get into the news.
Yeah,
So that was real simple. I just kind of pulled some samples off Splice and added echoes to one-liners that I pulled out. Another one that's really fun is called Seduce Me, and this is the exported file because it took a few different files to make it, but it's fun like to just create a transition like this.
smell.
This one is called Seduce Me. Seduce Me. Seduce Me. Seduce Me is really just a chance for each of us to go around the room.
So it just helps with transitions. They also had a quick little break in there, so
Thank you for playing, and when we come back,
I made them a little song just to kind of transition out of this segment and into the next.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are
You know, eventually something like that could be filled with advertisements or whatever, but for now, like, that's a nice just transition. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, most of the legwork goes into editing out dead space, and that's only because this was our first time at it, and there's just some bleed through to the microphones. But once we kind of get a good system down, and I know that they're sitting in the right places in their rooms when they record, we'll be good to go. And like I said, I've got this template saved for them now. For this one, just for ease of time, I sent it to Lander to be mastered, which for like real quick promo tracks, 30 seconds, 1 minute, or something that's primarily narration like this, I think Lander does a great job just quick mastering. That way you know that it's up to par with everything else that's out there. For my personal music, I tend to master it myself and go that route just so I can be sure to get in there and tweak what I want. But I had no problem sending it through to Lander on this one. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the first podcast. Make sure you go and check these guys out. It should be really fun to team up with them, and looking forward to producing some more shows for